Your life will never rise higher than your thoughts. If your mind is stuck in limitations, your life will stay confined to those boundaries. To step into something greater, you have to see it before you can seize it. What you think about yourself, about your future, and about what's possible, those are the blueprints that shape your reality. If you don't shift your thinking, you'll keep building the same small, restricted life over and over again. It's not the size of your obstacles that hold you back. It's the size of your perspective. Too many people magnify their problems while minimizing their potential. But if you can shift your focus from what's wrong to what's possible, you'll start to see opportunities where others see opposition. Every great achievement began in someone's mind as a thought, a vision that dared to go beyond what the eyes could see. You have to break free from the prison of "I can't." That mindset will chain you to mediocrity. When you tell yourself, "This is all there is for me," you're building a wall around your own potential. But when you dare to think bigger, when you allow yourself to dream beyond your current circumstances, you unlock doors to possibilities you never imagined. Your thoughts are like seeds. Whatever you plant will grow. If you plant fear and doubt, your life will be overrun with frustration and hesitation. But if you plant faith, hope, and determination, your future will flourish with opportunity. The question is, what are you feeding your mind? You can't expect a harvest of abundance if all you're sowing are weeds of negativity. It's time to challenge every thought that says you can't do this. Question it. Push back against the lies that have been whispered in your ear, maybe for years. Just because you've always believed something doesn't make it true. The moment you realize your thoughts don't have to control you, that's the moment you take back your power. You can decide to think differently. You have to train your mind to think beyond what you can currently see. Stop waiting for everything around you to change before you decide to think differently. Change starts inside you first. Your situation may not shift overnight, but if you begin to see beyond your circumstances, you'll find a way to rise above them. Vision comes before victory. If you can see it in your mind, you're already halfway there. The key to breaking through is realizing that the limits aren't in your life, they're in your mind. Tear down the walls of doubt, fear, and insecurity. Open your mind to the possibility that more is possible, even for you. Don't let your past define the borders of your future. If you're willing to think differently, you'll begin to live differently. There comes a moment when you have to decide if where you are is worth what you're losing by staying. You cannot rise to new heights while carrying the weight of old baggage. Some relationships, habits, and mindsets were only meant for a season, and holding on to them for too long can keep you grounded. Elevation demands separation. If you want to soar, you have to be willing to leave behind what no longer aligns with where you're going. Not everyone can go with you to the next level. It's not about arrogance or cutting people off out of spite. It's about understanding that some connections are seasonal. There are people who were helpful in one chapter of your life, but now their presence has become a hindrance. You don't hate them, you just recognize that your growth requires distance. Sometimes love means letting go. Habits are no different. You cannot expect to step into a new life with old routines. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. Ask yourself, are your daily habits pushing you towards your goals, or are they pulling you away from them? The habits that comfort you may be the same habits that are crippling you. Break free from them before they break you. Fear is one of the heaviest anchors you'll ever carry. It whispers, stay where you are. Don't risk failure, but fear will keep you in a place where you're safe but stuck. It's better to stumble toward greatness than to stand still in mediocrity. You can't soar with the weight of fear chained to your wings. Face it, fight it, and leave it behind. Sometimes the hardest thing to leave is a version of yourself. You've grown comfortable with who you've been, but growth requires becoming someone new. Letting go of your old self is not rejection, it's evolution. You're not betraying who you were, you're honoring who you're becoming. The butterfly doesn't apologize for leaving the cocoon. The discomfort of separation is temporary, but the reward of elevation is eternal. It may feel lonely at first when you let go of what no longer serves you, but loneliness in the pursuit of purpose is better than company in the company's sake. Surround yourself with people and environments that push you to be better. Trade temporary comfort for long-term fulfillment. Remember, eagles don't fly in flocks. They soar alone, high above the distractions and limitations of the ground. You can't stay tethered to what's familiar and expect to reach new heights. If you're willing to separate, you'll discover that the sky was never the limit, it was just the starting point. Too often we allow the world to define success for us. We chase after the cars, the houses, the applause, thinking that when we get there, we'll finally feel fulfilled. But real success isn't found in things, it's found in alignment. It's about walking in your purpose, not running after someone else's approval. If you're not living authentically, you're not truly living. You were not created to be a copy of anyone else. You were designed with a unique purpose, a specific set of gifts, and a calling that no one else can fulfill. Trying to measure your life against someone else's success is like judging a fish by its ability to climb a tree. What's for them is for them, and what's for you is for you. Your lane was made for you, stay in it. Success isn't about how loud the applause is, it's about how at peace you are when the applause fades. It's about waking up in the morning with a sense of purpose and going to bed knowing you've poured into what truly matters. Stop trying to impress people who aren't living your life. Their expectations are not your obligation. Your joy is. When you chase someone else's dream, you risk losing yourself in the process. You might reach the top of the ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. Don't waste your time climbing towards something that doesn't align with who you are. Redefine success as fulfilling your purpose, even if it looks different from what the world celebrates. See, your value is not determined by what you achieve, but by who you are becoming. Success isn't a destination, it's a journey of growth, learning, and becoming more aligned with your true self. Focus less on the trophies and more on the transformation. The accolades will fade, but the impact you make when you live authentically will endure. Don't be afraid to dream differently. What inspires others may not inspire you, and that's okay. Your dreams are valid even if they don't fit the mold. True success is having the courage to pursue a vision that's uniquely yours, even when it defies conventional wisdom. Walk boldly in your authenticity and you'll find fulfillment in places others overlook. Success is not one size fits all. Redefining it means freeing yourself from the pressure to conform. It means asking, what do I really want? What brings me joy, peace, and fulfillment? Success is not about being better than anyone else. It's about being the best version of yourself. When you live in alignment with your purpose, you redefine not just what success looks like, but what it feels like. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you're planted in the wrong environment, that potential will never come to life. A seed can only grow as strong as the soil it's planted in. If the ground is toxic, dry, or lacking nutrients, it doesn't matter how great the seed is, it will wither. Your environment matters. Who you're around, where you're rooted, and what you're exposed to directly impact how far you can grow. You cannot thrive in a place that doesn't nurture your purpose. Stop trying to make things grow in barren soil. Some environments may feel comfortable because they're familiar, but comfort zones are rarely growth zones. Staying where you've always been may feel safe, but it can also keep you stuck. Sometimes growth requires uprooting yourself from what's familiar and planting yourself in a place where you can flourish. So be mindful of the people you surround yourself with. Are they pouring into your dreams, or are they draining your energy? Are they challenging you to grow, or are they content with you staying small? The right people will water your vision and push you towards your potential. The wrong people will choke your dreams before they even take root. Choose your circle wisely, your growth depends on it. The environment isn't just physical, it's mental and spiritual too. What are you feeding your mind? What are you allowing into your spirit? If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, doubt, and fear, it's only a matter of time before those things begin to take root in you. To grow into your full potential, you need an environment that cultivates faith, hope, and inspiration. Positioning yourself in the right environment may mean making hard choices. It might mean leaving behind places and people you once loved. It might mean stepping into spaces where you feel uncomfortable at first. Growth isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Sometimes God will call you to leave one place so he can prepare you for a better one. Trust the process even when it's painful. Your environment should reflect your goals. If you want to grow, put yourself in a place where growth is the expectation, not the exception. Surround yourself with people who are going where you want to go, or who have already been there. Be intentional about where you invest your time, energy, and attention. Where you plant yourself today determines what you'll produce tomorrow. Remember, even the best seeds can't grow in the wrong soil. Don't settle for an environment that stifles your growth. You were created for more, and it's up to you to position yourself where you can thrive. When you find the right soil, your roots will grow deep, your branches will stretch wide, and your life will bear fruit that blesses others. Your life is not a series of random events, it's a reflection of your choices. Every decision you make shapes your future, whether you realize it or not. When you stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something you create, everything changes. You are not a victim of circumstances, you are the architect of your destiny. If you don't like the house you're living in, pick up the tools and start building something new. Blaming others may feel satisfying in the moment, but it will never move you forward. Blame is a wall, not a bridge. It keeps you stuck in the past instead of building toward the future. Yes, life may have dealt you some unfair cards. Yes, people may have hurt you or betrayed you, but the power to rise above it doesn't lie in their hands, it lies in yours. Ownership means saying, I didn't choose what happened to me, but I can choose what I do next. Every excuse you cling to is another brick in the wall of limitation. Excuses are easy, but they're also expensive. They cost you your potential. When you take ownership, you stop making excuses and start making changes. It's not about being perfect or never failing. It's about being accountable. It's about learning from your mistakes instead of letting them define you. You can't fix what you won't face. Taking ownership requires looking in the mirror and confronting the hard truths. Maybe it's a habit you need to break, a mindset you need to shift, or a choice you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, own it. The sooner you face it, the sooner you can grow from it. Freedom begins where denial ends. Your decisions today create your opportunities tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start building. Start where you are with what you have. Small, consistent choices can lead to big transformations. You don't need to know every step of the journey. Just take the next one. When you commit to progress, doors will open that you never expected. Taking ownership isn't about control, it's about empowerment. You may not control every circumstance, but you do control how you respond. Life will throw storms your way, but your response determines whether you sink or sail. When you own your choices, you take back the power that circumstances tried to steal from you. Stop waiting for someone else to change your life. No one is coming to rescue you. You are the answer you've been waiting for. When you take ownership, you stop being a passenger and start being a driver. You take the wheel, set the course, and steer toward the life you were meant to live. Change is inevitable, but growth is optional. Life has a way of disrupting our plans, but those disruptions are not the end, they're opportunities for a new beginning. When things don't go as planned, it's not a time to mourn what's lost, it's a time to discover what's next. Repositioning means being willing to pivot, to shift, and to adapt when the road you envision takes an unexpected turn. Flexibility is not weakness, it's strength in motion. Holding on too tightly to what was can keep you from embracing what could be. Sometimes we get so attached to our plans that we fail to see the possibilities in the detour. The job you lost, the relationship that ended, the door that closed, they might be the very things pushing you toward a greater purpose. Stop grieving over the ashes of yesterday and start looking for the fire of tomorrow. Adaptability is the hallmark of resilience. It's not about denying the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to move forward despite the uncertainty. Life doesn't require you to have all the answers. It requires you to keep going. Flexibility allows you to bend without breaking, to shift without shattering. When the winds of change blow, don't resist them, adjust your sails. Change doesn't destroy you, your refusal to adapt does. Stubbornness in the face of change is like trying to swim upstream in a raging river. It exhausts you and keeps you stuck. Let go of what you thought should happen and embrace what is happening. The quicker you accept reality, the sooner you can begin to reshape it. Being flexible doesn't mean giving up your dreams. It means finding new ways to pursue them. The destination may remain the same, but the path to get there might look different than you imagined. A setback isn't a stop sign. It's a chance to recalibrate, to find a better route. Sometimes the pivot is the breakthrough you didn't know you needed. Flexibility requires faith. You have to believe that even when life doesn't make sense, there's a purpose in the process. Trust that the twists and turns are leading you somewhere meaningful. Don't let fear of the unknown paralyze you. Change isn't your enemy, stagnation is. The willingness to adapt is what separates those who survive from those who thrive. Your ability to reposition yourself in the face of change determines how high you can rise. Life is not static, it's fluid, constantly shifting and evolving. To grow, you must be willing to flow with it. When you stop mourning what was and start pivoting toward what can be, you'll discover that the end of one chapter is simply the beginning of another. Repositioning requires more than just effort, it requires faith. When the road gets tough, when the obstacles seem insurmountable, it's faith that will carry you through. Effort alone may not always be enough to overcome the challenges you face, but when you anchor yourself in faith, you tap into a strength that goes beyond what you can see or understand. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Resilience is built on the foundation of belief. It's not about never falling, but about getting back up when life knocks you down. The world will tell you to quit, to settle, to give up, but your faith will tell you to keep going, to hold on, and to trust the process. When your effort feels like it's not enough, let your faith be your fuel. Faith will help you go further, faster, and higher than your effort alone ever could. When you face a challenge that seems impossible, resilience doesn't mean that the struggle will be easy. It means that you refuse to quit. Faith doesn't promise an absence of difficulty, but it promises the strength to endure. When you anchor yourself in belief, you find an inner power that rises up in the face of adversity, giving you the courage to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. Faith doesn't require you to have all the answers, but it does require trust. You may not know how things will work out, but you must trust that they will. Faith gives you the patience to wait for the right timing and the wisdom to recognize when the right moment arrives. It's not about having a perfect plan, it's about trusting in a perfect purpose. When you believe you can walk through fire and still come out unscathed. Sometimes the hardest part of repositioning is keeping your belief when everything around you is falling apart. It's easy to believe when everything is going well, but it's in the struggle that your faith is tested and refined. When you stay grounded in your belief, you develop a resilience that can't be shaken by circumstances. You build a spiritual endurance that makes you unmovable, no matter how tough the storm. Resilience isn't a trait you're born with, it's something you cultivate in the midst of the struggle. It's born from choosing faith over fear, hope over doubt, and perseverance over giving up. The storms of life may knock you down, but your faith will help you rise again. Stay anchored in it, and you'll discover a strength within yourself that nothing in this world can take away. When you're anchored in faith, nothing can stop you. You'll outlast every setback, rise above every challenge, and come out on the other side stronger than before. Faith doesn't make the obstacles disappear, but it makes you capable of overcoming them. Stay grounded in your belief, and there's no mountain high enough to keep you from reaching the peak of your purpose. Thanks for watching.